How's everybody doing? Finally getting around to doing this next part of my commentary of Night of the Living Dead. Am I in there? Can you see me? I hope so. Yeah. But this is going to be part four. I'm not sure if it's going to be part 4 or 5, or if I'm going to try and finish it all in the in one final part. There's about a half an hour left of the film, so it's all based on if my memory light starts blinking and letting me know, because I have a lot of things on this SIM card. Anyway, let me get on the other side of the camera and we will get into this. And as usual, you're going to see the volume here and there and other things because I'm doing it very amateurly. But this is where we left off, right before they head outside. Camera got a little crooked. Somewhere in there. That'll do for now. Tilt it up a little tiny bit. There's Carl Hardman throwing down the cocktails to clear some space for so Tom and Ben can get to the truck and get the truck to the gas pump. So hopefully they can get the gas and escape. Something I'll point out in a second. I did mention this briefly, I think, in the last video, is the headlights on the truck. In the beginning of the film, when Ben first shows up, the ghouls smash the headlights. But here you can see they used a different truck, and they didn't think to remove the headlights. And you can see the headlights are perfectly intact. Something I never actually picked up on before. And just Ben is pissed. And you see his face. Not too happy about that. Definitely a bonehead move on her part. Carl Hardman watching the chaos. I'm getting way too much background stuff in this. Yeah, that's better. No, it's amateur-esque, very amateurish what I'm doing, but I think my holder for the camera is starting to wear out, so everything's kind of shifting. It's not holding it up straight. There's an obvious day for night shot during the day, but it's supposed to be at night, which is done a lot in films. Higher budget films could obviously make it look a little bit more believable, but the band The Misfits, actually, I'll get to that in a second. How do you do that? Like, how did he spill the gas all over the place? For stock music, it really goes well with this movie. There's a weird reflection on the screen. I'm not sure where it's coming from exactly. Now, had she had stayed in the house like she should have, this would definitely have not. The truck probably would have blown up still, but they would not have. They would not have died. The band The Misfits have a 1982 album called Walk Among Us. It's a punk band, if you guys, those who don't know who The Misfits are, and who I really like. But they have a song called Night of the Living Dead. But most of their music, quite a bit of their music anyway, was based on classic horror movies. A lot of religious groups at the time were accusing them of using satanically inspired themes for the idea of this movie, which is complete bull, but you're going to see a second coming up as another example of these George Romero era zombies, at least in this film, using tools. This has been just had it enough. Great line coming up. Tilt this up a bit. And then here we see them actually eating people, as the genre would continue to do throughout its run. A lot of what they were eating were ham covered in chocolate, and some of these intestines, and you'll see someone eating a piece of liver in a minute, were actually right there, an actual piece of raw liver. Pretty nasty, but they were supplied by a local butcher. I think I'm missing a page. Of notes here. Maybe not.
Isn't it 3 o'clock yet?
Marilyn Eastman.
There's supposed to be another broadcast at 3 o'clock.
10 minutes.
Oh? Only 10 more minutes? We don't have very long to wait. We can leave. Or we better leave soon. It's 10 minutes to 3.
At some point, Marilyn Eastman, I almost said Marilyn Burns.
You know anything about this area at all? I mean, is Willard the nearest town?
Marilyn Eastman made jokes about how should we kill the zombies, and she said, how about a pie fight? Pies to the face, and of course that was never used, but it did happen in the sequel. Not so much to kill them, but to slow them down a little bit, more of a comical scene in the sequel, Dawn of the Dead.
Forget it. It's at least a mile.
Which is
Johnny has the keys.
by most considered the superior of the series, of the Dead series, but I disagree. I will always like Night of the Living Dead the best.
One of those things grabbed her.
Hit her on the arm.
Put the volume a little bit louder this time
Who knows
because
what kind of disease those things carry?
I hope I didn't put it too
Is she
loud.
conscious?
Barely.
She can't walk. She's too weak.
This is where the whole getting bit by a zombie trope came in.
Well, one of us could try to get to the car.
You're gonna turn it over by yourself?
You can't start the car. Johnny has the keys.
His clues in. Wait, you have a car
You have a car?
that you've been mentioning the whole time?
You won't be able to start it.
Yeah, I know. But where is it?
That's a zombie OnlyFans shot.
Good Lord.
Not really, though, obviously.
Being monitored closely by scientists at all the radiation detection stations. At this hour, they report the level of the mysterious radiation continues to increase steadily. So long as this situation...
Online it says something about George Romero being influenced by the film Carnival of Souls that I think came out in 1962,
all persons who die
which is more of a ghost movie than a zombie movie. But that has been... That's not true, because George Romero admitted, or had said in interviews later on, that he'd never seen that movie until after he'd made this film. But this film was inspired by
So now let's go to that film report.
I Am Legend, the story, which also became the movie Last Man on Earth, and the Omega Man, and the one with Will Smith, and my dog's coughing.
By a shot in the
Okay.
head or a heavy blow to the skull.
And a few other films,
Explaining that since the brain of a
and
ghoul
also
has been
28 Days
activated
Later.
by the radiation, the plan is kill the brain and you kill the ghoul.
What do you think from the supply rack, Gus?
No, we're all right.
And that's George Costanza, not to be confused with George Costanza, but George Costanza, who was also the production manager of the movie.
Chief, do you think we'll be able to defeat these things?
Well, we killed 19 of them today right in this area. Those last 3 we caught trying to claw their way into an abandoned shed. They must have thought somebody was in there. There wasn't, though.
The other actor is Bill. I want to say Bill Cardille or Bill Cardile. I'm not sure, but I think he was a radio personality back in the 60s and 50s, and he was nicknamed Chilly Billy Cardile. And he's also in the remake, but I can't remember which part he plays. I haven't watched in quite a while.
Well, that's pretty hard to say. We don't know how many of them there are. We know when we find them, we can kill them.
Are they slow moving, Chief?
Yeah, they're dead.
They're all messed up.
Well,
That's a
in
funny
time,
line.
Would you say you ought to be able to wrap this up in 24 hours?
Well, we don't really know. We know we'll be into it most of the night, probably into the early morning. We're working our way toward Willard, and we'll team up with the National Guard over there, and then we'll be able to give a more definite view.
Thank you very much, Chief McClellan.
When the movie is being filmed, the Evans City Cemetery. My camera keeps dropping. I gotta get a new stand. So I apologize for that. But yeah, there was a tornado and it went through the Evans City Cemetery, which is the cemetery in the beginning of the film, and it pulled out over 200 bodies. It had to all be recovered while this was being filmed.
The power lines are down. Helen, I have to get that gun.
Haven't you had enough?
But 2 people are dead already on account of that guy. Take a look out that window, quick.
Well, technically it wasn't his fault. But here, this is what I was talking about. You see them using tools. In the later zombie movies, they didn't really do that as much, and zombie films made by others, it didn't really find its way in as often. I do apologize for this camera stand. Everything's kind of wonky. About 15 minutes left of the film, so I'm probably going to try and keep this a two-part. And there's Bill Heinzman. So just peeking through the glass there. Tom Savini was actually going to do a lot of the makeup effects for this film, but ended up going to Vietnam. And of course, he came back for the follow-up, couple of the follow-up films. But he took a lot of his knowledge from Vietnam of what he had seen, and used that because he was a photographer, and he used it for to learn anatomy and how bodies should look when they're ripped open or bleeding. It's kind of a gruesome thought, but it helped with his career. Unfortunate circumstances, but you learn from your past. Coming up's where you finally see Barbara snap out of her the way she is. Tom makes his way down the stairs. You see why kids, when they were going in to see this without realizing what they were going in to see, were a little bit traumatized in 1968 when 5-year-olds were allowed to go see it. I'm trying to get this. I had it set really decent for the other 2 parts, but the other 3 parts. She runs away, and then originally Harry was supposed to die and become a zombie. Ended up eating Karen, but they found that was too dark. The whole idea of a father eating his daughter, so they switched it. Yeah, I think I got the camera in the right spot for the last 10 minutes of the video. That trowel was actually sold online and is now in a private collection. The sound effects here are just creepy. Really well done. She was actually just stabbing into a pillow. Well, the crew was throwing Bosco chocolate sauce on the wall and on her. It's similar to how it was done in Psycho 8 years earlier. It's throwing the chocolate sauce because it's in black and white. This is Barbara trying to survive. Again, that's Bill Heinzman again, I believe. And there's her brother Johnny. He looks a little different without the glasses and the makeup, but and that's the end of Barbara. Originally, she was supposed to be the only survivor, but for whatever reason, they changed the script for the Ben character to survive. And right here, they didn't tell Dwayne Jones that Kyra was going to grab his arm, so when he jumps and like he's scared, it's a legitimate response because he didn't know it was going to happen, and then he just kind of went back into character and continued on with the shot. Now here's the ironic twist. As we all know, Ben does end up in the basement, but where the irony is that Harry wanted to go in the basement, and he did, and then he ended up dying. Ben didn't want to go in the basement, and ends up going into the basement to survive. We're under 10 minutes left of the film, so obviously I'm just gonna... I think my memory's okay on this card, so... They're supposed to be ripping the place apart, and you can see them standing there just kind of pushing things back and forth. What the hell happened down here? Her getting up is creepier than Harry's. You'll see in a second. Just how she just kind of opens her eyes. Well, I guess she doesn't get up, she just comes back to life, but... Don't really have a whole lot more to say about the film in terms of the commentary. I have a couple things I'm going to say more towards the end. But I just realized that light I was talking about on the screen is... I have an overhead lamp over my shoulder, and it's reflecting off a Wizard of Oz poster I have in glass behind me, a small poster. You wouldn't know anything happened just when you see this scene. Everything's daytime, everything's safe. A lot of the Pittsburgh police supplied a lot of things, maybe like the guns and the police cars and possibly even the helicopter you see here for the movie. And I think a lot of the extras were locals from the area, but don't quote me on that 100%, but that's what I read somewhere, I think, or was heard it in a commentary, or maybe I'm unintentionally making it up, I don't know. But I think that there are mostly a lot of locals. I wonder if they supplied the German Shepherds too.
Hey, Vince, Al, you want to get about 4 or 5 men and a couple dogs? There's a house over here behind those trees. We want to go check it out.
There's George Costanza again, and Bill Cardile again.
Where'd you get the coffee? One of the volunteers, you're doing all the work, you take it.
Thank you. We should be wrapped up here about 3 or 4 more hours. We'll probably get into.
I'm not a gun person, but I was told that the rounds in his belt aren't the same rounds that would be used in that particular gun, but
All right, Steve. Tell them
I don't know myself, so that's just what I read or
appears to be under control.
heard. My dog's older now, and she doesn't hear so well. If she was younger, she might have started barking when she heard that. We have 5 minutes left. I think we're good. I've made cooking videos longer than this, so... And she's like, oh, wait. Zombies don't shoot guns. Sorry, ghouls. They're not called zombies in this movie yet. In this movie.
You're down there by the bar.
I wonder if that was a third truck they used, or if they actually did burn one of the two trucks that we seen earlier in the film.
Somebody had a cook out here, then.
I always like that line. That was a stuffy. This is the floppy guy. Yeah, I call him the floppy one. He just falls down and does that weird flip over.
Get up here. Nick, Tommy, Steve, you want to get out in that field and build me a bonfire?
There was a big rumor surrounding this particular scene coming up.
Throw it on the fire. Nothing down here? All right, go ahead down and give him a hand. Let's go check out the house. There's something there. I heard a noise. All right, then. Hit him in the head, right between the eyes.
I remember the first time I saw this, I was like, what the fuck?
Okay, he's dead. Let's go get
But
him.
there's
That's another one for the
a lot
fire.
of people believing that he was shot because he was black by this white posse in the 60s, but that's been long since disproved because the script was written before Dwayne Jones was casted as Ben. All these pictures, these still images you see here were taken by Carl Hardman. I forgot his name. He's on the screen right now too. But it's kind of sad how like they won't even. Well, I guess they don't know if they're diseased or what, and they're just dragging away with the hooks and realize that they're once people. But it's a dark movie. It's going to have a dark ending. After the movie was made and they're driving to New York City, they heard on the radio that Martin Luther King Jr. had just been assassinated. And here they are with a movie they just filmed where the main character, who's black, gets executed. Well, no, not the right words, but gets killed at the end of the movie. So there was a little bit of concern, like whether are they going to even be able to release it. But I think it was just, well, let's just see what happens, and here we are today. I think that's the Bill Hinsman zombie there, Ben. Okay, so that was 1968 classic Night of the Living Dead. And my commentary. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm going to be doing some more. I'm going to be getting a new camera stand because this thing's not having it anymore. But anyway, I had a lot of fun doing this. Enjoyed doing the research. I just wish I was able to get it done a little bit quicker. But oh, gotta pause that. Stop that. Stop. There. Power off. Just because it said copyright. I don't know if I'm allowed to show that. But worst case scenario, I do another one. Anyway, that was Night of the Living Dead. And I'm going to be looking up a few other movies. I think Carnival of Souls, which I had mentioned in this video, is one I'm going to do. And because I believe that is in the public domain. And I guess that's all I'm going to say. And spin me around and just say bye. And until the next one, bye. Wow.